Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Wright and I'm the Bedrock lead at All Ladies Catholic College. I've created this video just to give you an introduction to Bedrock vocabulary. So I'm going to explain to you what Bedrock is, how we use it at All Ladies. I'm going to show you what a student account looks like to help you navigate your way through the programme. And I'm also going to go through with you our new reward system for Bedrock this year. Now, Bedrock is a homework programme that we use in English, and it's going to teach you the important vocabulary that you need to succeed in school. So it's an online interactive programme that you're going to do for homework to learn the really important words that you're going to come across in school. Now, it's really important to learn vocabulary because it's central to everything that we do. If you think about it, we need words in order to read and write and speak and listen. And the more words you know, the more you will understand. And in school, the more progress you will make. And you're likely to come across lots of different words in different subjects. And Bedrock vocabulary will teach you these different words so that when you come across them in your different subjects, you will understand them and therefore you will make more progress in your lessons. And Bedrock makes this learning really fun because the activities that you do to learn these new words are interactive. There's lots of different types of tasks and it's really engaging. I've got a demonstration account and I absolutely love using it because there's something different each time. So I'm going to show you that in a second. Now, the benefits of using Bedrock is that, first of all, it is really easy to use. And as I said, the interactive lessons make learning fun. And you can access Bedrock anywhere, so long as the device you're using has access to Wi-Fi. So you can use a laptop, a tablet or a phone to do your Bedrock lessons, so long as those devices are linked to Wi-Fi. When you do your Bedrock lessons, you're going to read both fiction and non-fiction texts. And not only are you going to be learning new vocabulary, but you're also going to gain knowledge of the wider world. So you're going to come across lots of different cultures, lots of different places. So it doesn't just teach you vocabulary, it also teaches you about lots of different things in the world to help with your understanding of what's going on around us. Now, Bedrock gives you instant feedback on your progress. So you can actually track and monitor your progress, so how you're doing using the functions in your account that I will show you in the demonstration account. Now, Bedrock uses a point system to allocate rewards for progress and engagement. So what that means is you will be given points for progressing in the programme, so how well you do in the programme, but also for engaging and using the programme. And every half term, Bedrock runs a competition. And so if you get 120 points in a half term, you will automatically be entered into a prize draw from Bedrock, and you can earn prizes such as laptops, headphones, tablets, lots of different things like that. And that comes from Bedrock. But at Our Ladies, we're also going to use those Bedrock points to have our own reward system for Bedrock, and I'm going to show you what that looks like later on in the video. And finally, another benefit of Bedrock is that parents and guardians can actually have their own Bedrock account so that they can link their account to your account and see how you're doing. So they can track and monitor your progress and support you at home on your Bedrock journey. Now, just before I show you a demonstration account, there's some really important things that you need to know about the programme. The first really important thing is that your passwords and your usernames are case sensitive. Now, what that means is you have to type in your username and password exactly as it is when it's given to you by your English teachers. You can see on the screen that there are two examples of a password and a username. One is right, one is wrong. So the username that is correct, you can see that there are no capital letters, there are no spaces, but there is some dots and there is some numbers. So emily.smith.20775, that is the correct username, and the password underneath is just two random words that have been pushed together and each word starts with a capital letter. So peach, sock, each one starts with a capital letter. You'll notice that there's no spaces in that either, and that is the correct way to lay out a password and a username. Now, if you look at the example that's wrong, you can see Emily Smith 20775, but there's spaces in it, there's no dots, there's capital letters in the username, and the password doesn't have a capital letter to start the word sock. If you type in your password and username with spaces and using capital letters when they shouldn't be in there, Bedrock won't log you in. So you must make sure that you type in your password and username exactly as it is. We quite often get students that say, oh, well, I can't log in. And 99% of the time, it's because they're typing in their username and password incorrectly. So please just remember that usernames and passwords are case sensitive, and your English teacher is going to go through that with you and make sure that you've got the correct username and password written down in your planner. Now, the second really important thing that you need to know about Bedrock is that any students in year 7 or anybody that's new to Bedrock in years 8 or 9, you need to complete something called an alpha test before you begin. Now, the alpha test is not something that you need to worry about. It's just a multiple choice quiz that basically sets you off on the right level of Bedrock. We have lots of different levels, lots of different blocks in Bedrock, and it all depends on your reading ability. So years 7 and anybody that's new to Bedrock, when you log in, your screen will be white and it will say start alpha test. That's the first thing you need to do before you do anything else. And what I would say is, please don't get anybody else to complete this alpha test for you. In the past, we've had some students who have got quite worried about this test, and they've asked parents or siblings to complete it for them. And what's happened is they've ended up on a block that's too difficult for them. So, as I said, it's nothing to worry about, but please do this alpha test by yourself just to make sure that you start off on the right level. The next really important thing you need to remember is that 2 Bedrock lessons need to be completed a week for your English homework. One lesson takes roughly 15 to 20 minutes to complete. So one English homework is about 45 minutes. So you need to complete 2 lessons a week as Bedrock homework. And you need to remember that pre and post tests do not count as lessons. So when I show you what a block looks like, that should it should be obvious what I mean then, but you must complete 2 lessons a week for your homework. As I said, pre and post tests don't count as lessons. If you need to do that, they're in addition to your lessons, but they only take about 5 minutes. You need to earn 60% in a lesson to pass it. So every lesson, you're going to do a short quiz at the end of your lesson. If you get less than 60% in that quiz, Bedrock will ask you to repeat the lesson just to make sure that you understand the words that you're currently learning before moving on to learn new words. So if for whatever reason you don't pass a lesson, just don't worry and think, oh, it's broken or the program's crashed. It hasn't. It's just that you need to get 60% in a lesson to pass it before moving on. And the last important thing that you need to remember is that you can contact Bedrock directly at any point if you need some support or if you think something has gone wrong. So we ask you to contact Bedrock directly using the support system in the programme because it's far easier and far quicker for you to do that directly than to wait and see your English teacher to ask them to do it. Because your English teacher will just type out an email with what you've said. Bedrock will respond to the teacher and then they've got to respond to you. So if you go straight to Bedrock, it cuts out the middleman and it's far quicker and far easier. And Bedrock are really good at getting back to you. They usually get back to you within about 24 hours. Now, this image on the screen here, this basically shows you what a topic looks like. So this is one set of lessons. So when you're on the correct block, you're going to work through a variety of topics. Each topic has a pre-test, 6 lessons, and a post-test. So the pre-test just basically sees what words you know before you do your lessons. It looks at what words you need to focus on during the lessons. And then each lesson takes about 15 or 20 minutes to complete. So you would do 2 lessons in a week. So one topic should roughly take about 3 weeks for you to complete. Once you've done your pre-test and all your lessons, you will then be asked to do a post-test, and that post-test just sees how much you've improved after your lessons. So quite often in your pre-test, you might get, for example, 57%, a 57% score on the words that you're about to learn. But then after you've done your lessons, that post-test should show an improvement after your learning. So that 57% might increase to something like 80%. Okay, so this is one topic, you get a pre-test, 6 lessons and a post-test. Now, every lesson is narrated by a human to help you hear and read the words in context. So if you do struggle with your reading, the narration will help you to hear how the words are pronounced correctly, and it will help you engage with the program. So if you want to use headphones with the program, that's absolutely fine. If you're at home and you're in your own space, you don't need to use headphones, but I would highly recommend that you do listen to the narration. Every lesson introduces you to between 3 and 5 new words. And I've already said this, but if you do score under 60% in a lessons post-test, you will have to do that lesson again just to make sure that you've understood the words that you're learning before you move on to new words. So I'm going to go through the rewards with you after I've shown you a demonstration account. So when you want to log on to Bedrock, all you do is go onto Google and type in Bedrock vocabulary. And you need to click on the website that has the app before bedrocklearning.org. So it's app.bedrocklearning.org. Okay, so if you click onto that, it will take you to the login page. Now, you need to make sure that as a student, you've clicked onto the right tab. So you can see here that this tab is white. So you're clicking onto the student portal. If you are a parent or a guardian, you just need to make sure that you've clicked onto the guardian or teacher tab. So if you are a student and it's highlighted as a guardian or teacher tab, it won't let you log in even if your password and username are correct. So just make sure you've clicked onto the right tab there. So as I said before, your passwords and usernames are case sensitive. So you can see that I'm not including any spaces in my username, and I've got 2 dots to separate the OLCC from the demo and the number. Now, I'm not going to share this password with you for obvious reasons, but what I am going to tell you is that I have not included any spaces, and I've made sure that I've included 2 capital letters for my 2 random words. Okay, so this is what your screen will look like when you are ready to start your lessons. So year 7 or anybody that's new to Bedrock, your screen won't look like this at the beginning. Your screen will be white and it'll say take alpha test right in the middle. So just follow the instructions so you can do the alpha test so it can set you off on the right block. You can see here that I'm currently working through block 7 with this demonstration account. And if you scroll down, you can see that these are all the different topics that I'm going to be studying with block 7. So this topic here, this is highlighted in orange. So you can see that this is where I am currently situated with my learning. So I'm still on the first topic. The next topic that I'm going to learn is Journey Through the Sahara. I'm going to go on to learn about Richard Branson, then The End of the Earth. If you scroll down, you can see these are all the topics that I'm going to be learning about this year. The reason that most of the topics are grey is because I haven't got to them yet, so you need to make sure that you are going to the topic that is highlighted in orange because that's where you currently are with your learning. If you go to the top of the page, you can see that up here you've got your different tabs, so you can track your progress, you can see your history, any certificates that you've earned, and up here on the home screen you can see your weekly progress. So if you are at the stage with the red frowny face, that means that you've not done any lessons for that week and you need to remember to do 2 for that week. If you are here where I am with the orange smiley face, that means that you've done one lesson. So you've engaged with the program, you've done one lesson, so you've done half your homework, but you've still got to do 2 lessons. If you are up here with the green smiley face, that means that you've done your 2 lessons and you've fully completed your homework. Here is where Bedrock shows you how many points you've got this week. So I've got 10 this week, and it will show you how many points you've earned since you began using Bedrock. So I've got 27 points in total for Bedrock. Here it shows you how much time you spent on Bedrock. So I've spent just under 4 minutes on Bedrock this week, and last week I spent just under 3 minutes. So I don't seem to be doing very well on this week. So that should, for you guys, that should look at it should show about 40 minutes per week, 30 to 40 minutes, because each lesson takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do, and you need to do 2 lessons a week. Your knowledge organizer here, this is where you can have a look at the vocabulary that you already knew in the pre-tests, the vocabulary that you are currently learning, and when you've learned that vocabulary, it will go into this final column here. And you can also see it just in a different version here. So these are the words that I know, the words that I'm learning would be here, and the words that I have learned would be here. The reason that mine has nothing in learning or learned is because I knew all the words in the lessons that I've currently done, which is right, because let's be honest, I'm an English teacher, so I should be getting 100% in the lessons. Up here, it shows you your history. So you can see where I've logged on, you can see when I've completed lessons, and you can see the scores for those lessons. Up here is where I would earn any badges. So as I work through the program, when you earn rewards and badges, they will be displayed here, and any certificates. So if you complete a topic, you will get a certificate, and it will show on this screen here. So you can print off your certificates at home as well and have them up on your bedroom walls. So if I go back to the home page, I'm going to show you now what a lesson actually looks like. So to get back to where you left off with Bedrock, you can either click this green continue button up here, or you can go to the topic that's highlighted in orange, which I'm going to do. You can see here that in the pre-test I got 100%. As I said, I should do, because I'm an English teacher. And then I've not yet done my post-test, but when I do that, that will show, it should show an improvement for you guys, and it will give you a percentage improvement. So it might be that you improve by 30%, and that will show there. Okay, so let's have a look.
Sam began to feel desperate. How was he going to cope? How would he fit in here? How would he go unnoticed? Then he remembered 13D3. His old teacher had taken him by the shoulders and forced him to remember the code. It was decontextualized information that hadn't meant anything to him at the time, but he remembered in any case, just to be cordial and polite to the old man. Now, though, he knew why. As he passed the city boundaries, he noticed that all of the streets had codes: 1A1, 1A2, 1A3. There was no diversity in names here. He must just keep going until he reached 13D3.
Okay, so that was an example of the human narration in Bedrock. So the paragraph is read to you, and what you'll notice is there are some words that are highlighted in orange, and these are the words that I'm going to be learning in this lesson. So I've got the word desperate, cope, decontextualized, cordial, and diversity. Now what you'll notice as well is if you try to click continue, it won't let you continue. It says you must click all orange words to continue. Okay, now what that will do is when you click on to each word, it will explain that word in a little bit more detail in order for you to understand it. So I'll show you what it looks like with desperate.
Desperate. If you are desperate, you feel like you have no other option. You might feel desperate to go to the toilet in the middle of class. Ryder was desperate to see his family after so many months.
So you can see that went to orange because I've looked at the word, I've listened to the narration, it explains the word type up here, it breaks down the word so that you can pronounce it correctly, It explains what the word desperate means and it gives you an example of it in a sentence. So I'm okay with desperate now, so I'm going to continue. And you can see that that little blue tick has just appeared there. So I'm going to have a look at the next one. So that's cope.
Cope. If you cope with something, you manage it well. You could cope with a headache by not complaining about it. Amy talked to her mum about all of her GCSE work because she felt she was struggling to cope.
Okay, so that one's done. I'm going to click continue and I'm going to go to my next one, decontextualized.
Decontextualize. When you decontextualize something, you take it away from its surroundings to look at it on its own. If you look at one sentence in a book, taken away from the rest of the paragraph and text, then you decontextualize the sentence from the rest of the book. To solve the wordy maths question, James decontextualized the numbers in it.
Okay, so now I'm going to have a look at cordial.
Cordial. If you are cordial, you are polite and warm. You might behave in a cordial way to a stranger you haven't met before. Henry loved his English class because his friends were so cordial and were never horrible to one another.
Okay, and then I'm going to have a look at the last one, diversity.
Diversity. If there is diversity, there are lots of different types. A huge garden might have a diversity of flowers. Adele's school was a place that celebrated diversity in its students.
Okay, so that little noise there, that just indicates that I've completed this first section. So I've looked at the 5 words, they've all got ticks on, and now that continue button has turned green, so I'm ready to move on. So my first activity is I need to read this paragraph and answer the question that's at the top. So how was Sam feeling now? So Sam began to feel desperate. How was he going to cope? How would he fit in here? How would he go unnoticed? So I'm going to have a look at these ones here, and I'm deliberately going to choose a wrong answer to show you what will happen if you do get it wrong. So it says Sam began to feel desperate, and if I said, you know what, I think he felt hungry, I'm going to click continue.
Have another go. If you feel like you have no hope, you feel...
Okay, so this time I haven't got that right, so it won't let me move on until I get the right answer. So I'm going to try again. Began to feel desperate, so I'm going to try he felt hopeless. There you go. Okay, and it's important to read this information here. If you want it reading out to you, you can click this.
He felt desperate. This means he felt so bad that he didn't know what else he was supposed to do. Desperate means feeling like you have no hope.
Okay. And then the next one, it's the same task for this one. So we look at the question, read the extract, and then answer the multiple choice quiz. I'm not going to go through that with you now because I think at this point it's very much straightforward what it is that you should be doing. Now, what I would say is not all of the activities look like this. There are lots of different activities, but when you are introduced to a new activity, it's all really straightforward. What I would say, though, is when you are doing a lesson, if you do forget the definitions of the words that you're learning for that particular lesson, don't panic. Just go up here to today's words and you can see all the words that I'm learning for this lesson are up here. So if I need to remind myself of what the words mean, I can just click on it and it will come here. So during these tasks, don't panic if you can't quite remember. Just go back up to today's words and you can click on them and have a look at the definitions again. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page and I'm just going to show you what happens when you log out and log back in, because it should take you right the way back to where you were before. Okay, so I'm going to log out because I've run out of time today. We're going to pretend that it's the next day. Obviously, the best thing for you guys to do is to complete lessons, complete at least one lesson in one day. Okay, so log back in. You can see that my time has increased and I'm going to click continue and it will take me straight back to where I was. So if for any reason you've got to stop during a lesson, don't panic because it will take you back to the same place. Okay, but please do try and remember to log out at the end of every session. Okay, right. Rewards. This is the bit that I've been looking forward to. So I've already mentioned Bedrock points, and Bedrock will use that point system for their own competitions. You will automatically be entered into the Bedrock competitions to win lots of amazing prizes at various times in the year. It's roughly about once every half term. But what we're going to do at Our Ladies this year is we're also going to use Bedrock points to calculate your rewards. And there are lots of Aspire points, but other rewards up for grabs. So the first thing you might be thinking is, well, how do I earn Bedrock points? So as you work through the Bedrock program, Bedrock are automatically going to allocate points to you, and you need to try and achieve about 20 points every week. So if you do your 2 lessons a week for homework, you will get 20 points at least. Now, if you complete a pre-test or a post-test, Bedrock are going to give you 5 points. If you start a lesson, Bedrock are going to give you 2 points. That doesn't work if you start a lesson, then log out, then start it again, and log out and start again. It doesn't work like that. You'll get 2 points for every lesson started. Okay, so don't try and cheat the system that way. If you complete and you pass a lesson, you get 8 points. If you complete but you fail a lesson, you will still get points. You will get 3 points. If you have successfully learned a word in the Words I Am Learning section of your knowledge organizer, you will get 1 point. If you remember words in the Words I Have Learned, you will get 1 point. So when Bedrock asks you to do a recap task, if you remember those words, you will get a point. When you recap words, you will get another point. If you complete a block or a unit, so for example, my block 7, if I complete that block this year, I'm going to get a massive 30 points from Bedrock. And if you complete half a block, so if you do half the lessons in your block, you will get 15 points. And you can see it's easy to earn your 20 points a week, because if you start, complete and pass 2 lessons, you will get 20 points. Now, the rewards for Our Ladies are going to be split into 2 different types. You're going to have rewards from your class teacher, but you are also going to have rewards from me and Mrs. Porter as well. So class teachers are going to allocate weekly rewards. So you will get 2 Aspire points every week when you complete the required 2 lessons for homework. So if you do your 2 lessons for homework, your class teacher will give you 2 Aspire points. If you have completed 1 lesson a week, you will still get an Aspire point, but you need to be aware that a sanction will still be given because it is an incomplete homework. So even though you've done half your homework and you will get a reward point, you will still be given a homework sanction because it is important for you to do full homework, which is 2 lessons a week. Now, every month, your class teacher will look at all of your Bedrock points for the month, and the top 3 students in every class, according to points, are going to be rewarded with 10 additional Aspire points from myself and Mrs. Porter and a bar of chocolate. So your class teacher will have a look at the top 3 students. They will send their names to myself and Mrs. Porter. We will give you 10 Aspire points and a bar of chocolate. These students will also get a text and postcards home, just to inform parents or guardians of your achievements. You will also have your name on the class reward sheet in your English classroom, and you will receive Bedrock reward stickers in your exercise books. So that's the top 3 students in every class every month. Now, I'm also going to be doing my own rewards, and first of all, monthly rewards. We're going to do a year group class competition. So in every year group, you are going to be going head to head with the other classes in that year. So all of year 7 are going to be competing with other year 7 classes. Year 8 classes are going to be competing with the other year 8 classes, and so on. So I'm going to add up the class points in every year group at the end of each month to see which class has earned the most points. Now, to make it fair, I'm going to use the mean score. So we understand that some classes have more students in than others. So for example, 7S1 might have 32 students, whereas 7A4 might only have 18. And it's not fair to compare class points that way. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each individual class. I'm going to add up everyone's points and then divide it by the number of students in that class to make it fair. Now, the winning class in each year group, so whichever class has the highest mean score of Bedrock points a month, you're going to be rewarded with an early break or lunch, as well as additional Aspire points. So for example, in year 7, if 7S2 have the most class points in terms of mean score, you guys are going to get an early break or lunch that month. Every month, I'm also going to do a student leaderboard, and this applies to the whole of Key Stage 3, which is years 7, 8 and 9. So I'm going to run a monthly report to see who has made the most progress on Bedrock each month. So I'm going to be looking at the top 5 students across years 7, 8 and 9. So you might have 2 students in year 7, 2 in year 8 and 1 in year 9. Now, if you are in that top 5, you are going to receive additional Aspire points and a box of chocolate for your achievement there. And as I said, you know, this reward, it does look at the top 5 students across the whole of Key Stage 3. It's not just, it's not the top 5 in year 7 and the top 5 in year 8 and year 9. It's the top 5 across Key Stage 3. Now, this is my favourite reward, and these are going to be your termly rewards. So just before Christmas and Easter and before we break up for summer, you're going to be having a termly reward assembly. Obviously year 8 and 9, you'll know what I'm talking about, but year 7, you're yet to experience this, but basically you'll have an assembly where we will give out rewards for lots of different things that you've done across the term, and one of those things is going to be Bedrock. So I'm going to run a separate Bedrock prize draw for students based on Bedrock points. So I'm going to say, right, okay, any student that's reached this number of points in the term, they are going to be entered into a prize draw, and you can win some fantastic prizes. So things like Amazon vouchers, you can win footballs, shin pads, you can win some books and different stationery. So anybody that's eligible for that based on Bedrock points, you will be entered into that prize draw, and each prize draw will be done, it'll be done in the year 7 assembly, the year 8 assembly and the year 9 assembly. Now, this is my favourite one. At the end of each term, the top performing class in each year group, so based on that class mean score for the term, you are going to have a choice of what you want to do. So there's going to be a top performing class at the end of every term. So 1 in year 7, 1 in year 8 and 1 in year 9. And as a class, if you win that, if you have the highest mean score for Bedrock points, as a class, you're going to get a choice of what reward you want. So you might choose to have, as a class, you all want some chocolate. That's absolutely fine. You might all want to have a skip the lunch queue pass. So the winning class, everybody in that class will be given a pass, so you can go right to the front of the lunch queue and get your lunch first, so you can have more time outside. You might want to choose a 10 minutes early break or lunch on an allocated day. So you can have an early break, you can have an extended break or an extended lunch. However, you might, as a class, decide that you want to come to school late on one day. Okay, so if that's what you choose, you can come to school late, so you can have a bit of a lie-in and you can miss form on an allocated day. So you just need to come to school on one day for the start of period 1. You might decide that you want to have some golden time. So what that means is during an English lesson, you can choose what it is that you want to do. Obviously, your teacher will get the final say so. But if you say, do you know what, as a class, we want to go and play rounders outside, you can do that. If you want to do some quizzes, you can do that. If you want to bring some board games in, or you want to just sit and chat with each other whilst music's playing, that's absolutely fine. So that golden time is a choice that the class makes based on what they want to do during an English lesson. You might also want to have a movie treat. So during an English lesson, rather than do your regular learning, you will be able to choose a film and you can watch that during that lesson. And I also wanted to add, it's not just the winning classes that will get a prize, but the teachers of winning classes will also win a prize. And you need to know that the English department are very, very competitive. So it's important to work for obviously yourself, the class, but also your teacher as well. And I think the person to beat, to be honest, at the moment is Mr. McCann. So please do knock him off his perch. And just remember that your teachers are going to be winning a prize as well. Okay, so that's it from me today. Good luck with your reward system. I'm looking forward to coming around and seeing you all in your classes and how you're getting on with Bedrock. Please do enjoy the programme. It is absolutely fantastic. Just remember, 2 lessons a week, passwords and usernames are case sensitive, and points mean prizes. Thanks, everyone.